Welcome back to the IBSP. Here's your host, Boxing News.
Canelo is ready, and look, let's break it down honestly and objectively as possible. In a new interview from Mill City Boxing has come out where Yoeli Hernandez, one of Canelo Alvarez's sparring partners, revealed a few tidbits about the sparring Canelo Alvarez had with Jerron Boots Ennis, and it was very interesting. These are the points. The first point is Jerron Boots Ennis did not know how to deal with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez overall was too much for Jerron Boots Ennis, and he was having a hard time figuring out Canelo. This tells me that Canelo Alvarez was in peak form. He was focused. He was on point. Another thing is Canelo Alvarez cut off the ring in distance of Jerron Boots Ennis. Now, Jerron Boots Ennis has about the exact same reach as Terrence Bud Crawford. So that's very key. The fact that Canelo Alvarez was able to cut off the ring, manage the distance very well, and was able to fight at a distance that's comfortable for him. Now, that's very important and key for a fight like this against Terrence Bud Crawford, managing that reach. Another thing is Canelo Alvarez did very well at timing Boots Ennis and his movements. And that's another key. People talk about Canelo Alvarez like he's terrible at timing fighters. His movements are stuck in quicksand, and he's unable to deal with the guy who's fast, young, and mobile. And Boots Ennis is younger than Terrence Bud Crawford with the same reach. So this guy was a young, hungry lion Canelo Alvarez brought into camp. And the fact that Canelo Alvarez, took Boots in, and Boots didn't know how to handle Canelo. Canelo cut off the ring and managed the distance very well. And Canelo Alvarez was timing Boots and his movements is a very good sign for Canelo Alvarez. And that's the entire reason why Jerron Boots Ennis was brought into camp, to give Canelo Alvarez great work. And it was also beneficial for Boots Ennis to give him great work. So it was great for both guys. Now, with all of that being said, I just want to say this. Jerron Boots Ennis is no Terrence Bud Crawford. He's an excellent fighter. He's young. He's hungry. He's all of those great things. But make no mistake, he is not Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford is an elite pound-for-pound fighter. The man's a certified Hall of Famer. Jerron Boots Ennis has not reached that status yet, so don't make the mistake of thinking Boots Ennis is Bud Crawford. Also, Bud Crawford, power and experience cannot be matched, when you compare him to a Jerron Boots Ennis. So those are things that Boots Ennis simply can't bring to the table. Bud Crawford's power and Bud Crawford's experience, he just can't bring that to the table. He can't mimic that in camp. That is going to be something Canelo's going to have to deal with on fight night. And also Bud Crawford's IQ. Bud Crawford has developed an elite IQ over all the years of his profession. And you got to look at it. He's been pro longer than Boots Ennis. The man has put in and fought in higher levels of competition than Boots Ennis. So at the end of the day, you see Terrence Crawford's IQ is beyond Jerron Boots Ennis. Now, Boots Ennis did his job, brought Canelo Alvarez good work, but never make the mistake of thinking that these two guys are the same. And just because Canelo Alvarez did well in sparring Jerron Boots Ennis does not mean that it's going to result in a great fight for Canelo Alvarez against Terrence Bud Crawford. Crawford is a different animal. He's a different monster, and it could have a very different outcome. Now, with all of that being said, I think Canelo Alvarez greatly benefited from having Jerron Boots Ennis in camp, but how much he benefit, we'll find out on the night of the fight.